your liberal elites, your college graduates typically, and you have your ghetto people that believe that the Democrats are for the poor man, so they follow. All right, and of course there's people in between, but that's the two main groups, in my opinion. On the Republican side, you have your business people. They're all about business, and they love business. You have your religious people, your religious conservatives. They're on the Republican side. And you have your rednecks, essentially. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple. So both sides have their strong elements and their weak elements and their sort of weird one in the case of religion. What I'm seeing right now is that the right, the Republicans, are resisting anything that might look like change. Just anything. What we have a problem with Democrats is, you look at like the Keystone Pipeline, which I'm not that well versed on, but I think we should allow it if it's going to help. If the risk is minimal to the environment and it's going to help economies both in Canada and America and wherever they're bringing in immigrant workers from, which I don't know if the migrant workers are coming from Mexico or what, but either way, an oil pipeline is generally going to be profitable. So I'll have to read up on that a little more before I can develop any more opinions. But as long as it's done in an economically sound way, an environmentally safe way, I don't see why we would be holding that up. But I hear it was just vetoed for the third time. So my whole plea to you folks is when you talk to people, spread the idea that it is a bad idea for politicians to be using necessary fundamental organizational funding budgets as political poker chips. I mean, think about what that's holding hostage. It's like picking up a baby by the ankles to beat on your opponent with. Sure, you're probably going to hurt your opponent. You might bruise them. You might give them a black eye. Fuck the baby, right? You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. All of that's out. You're throwing the tub out. You're throwing yourself out. You're burning your house down before you throw yourself and everybody else out. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah. So that bothers me. But we're going to talk about this guy more. Sean Duffy had the balls to say, how come Democrats think that they can tie together, which Democrats never did. Never did. It is the Republicans tying together DHS funding with anything. And what they're saying is you need to remove all of your support for funding these executive actions because there's overreach involved. All of that, then we'll let the DHS have its money. Does that sound reasonable to you? That's not reasonable. And I think these things need to be protected by federal law so that they cannot be made into bargaining chips for any political party ever, regardless of who's dominating Congress, regardless of who's in the White House, regardless of who's in the Supreme Court or on the fucking cabinet. I am so sick of seeing necessary fundamental organizational budgets used as poker chips. I'm going to round these people up, and I'm going to tie them on post, randomly placed in the practice field for the jousting school of the blind. That's my plan, and I just have to. I got to figure out a way to capture them all quickly. And they're like Pokemon. You got to get them all, because if you just get like half of them, then it's not really. You've missed your opportunity there. So you guys heard the media earlier. You heard that we are pretty retarded. These are the extreme cases. Now, you know me. I'm not trying to present a skewed view. You talk to the average American. I think the average American IQ is around 94, I believe was the most recent study. 100 would be considered kind of level, like where you're supposed to be. And I think the average, the highest IQ average was like 102 or 103 in Norway or Finland. I can't remember. So we're all running between 90 and 110 on average. And then you have your exceptions. According to the test I've taken, I usually score up around 130, 140. But I don't trust those, because to get a true IQ test, you have to be in the presence of a psychiatrist. It's going to be timed. It's very formal in its nature. And, then you have to start discussing the biases and things that come along with IQ tests. Was this question leaning towards someone who, if they were white and interested in white history, might have known an answer that someone who was black or Hispanic or Asian wouldn't have known because they weren't interested in it? that type of thing. So you have to remove all that and account for it, and then you get your IQ. I think it's a useful test. I think we need to refine it to make sure that it's absolutely cultural neutral and sex neutral and transgender friendly. We got to have that, and it must not have any questions in it regarding anything called swath. And as long as that's the case, I think IQ tests are good. I think they're great. I think they're a good measurement of where you are, because a good IQ test measures really your capability. It's not about facts. It's not like playing Jeopardy. That's maybe 25% of it. But spatial relations, cognitive function, the ability to put together complex ideas, those are all part of the intelligence quotient. And I think it's a good mark. What else do we have? It's the best thing we have going right now. It just needs refining. And honestly, I think you need about 5 or 6 different types of tests to really get a hold on someone's intelligence. But the whole point is we're not that intelligent. I thought when the internet got big, I remember back in like 1997. It was let me think. No, it was like 93. And my friend Jeff up in Alaska had CompuServe. He had a computer with CompuServe. He was on the internet. It was a big deal. Nobody else was, just him. So we would go over to his house, and of course we're trying to find porn pictures. None were up yet, but because it had just evolved from the BBS thing up to what the DoD project eventually created, the internet, which was really nothing but at that time a wide area network. But of course it went global, and you see the result. So I remember that, and I remember thinking people are going to be in instant communication with each other whenever they want to. I remember thinking that. And I remember thinking all the information that's currently in libraries will end up out here on these servers. I remember thinking that. And I think in the back of my mind, I don't know if I actually thought this or just sort of believed it as a fundamental belief, intelligence is going to skyrocket. It's going to skyrocket with the ease of access to information. Wow, was I wrong? I honestly think the internet has hurt our intelligence. I'll have to look at the studies, but I'm betting that's what they're finding. Yeah, I'll bet that's what they're finding. Cat videos, porn, Candy Crush, other video games, radio shows. What the fuck are we doing here? You're listening to my ignorant ass talk about ignorant shit, and you're getting ignorant as a result, and that's part of the disease. But it is a social venue, and speaking of social venues, we do have to talk a little bit about Provigil. Yeah. Might have had a friend not long ago send me a little gift called Provigil. Have you seen the Provigil? Hey, Debbie Daly. Who else is Debbie, Apocalypse, Stabby, and Andrew in the chat room? I'm going to share this. Debbie, I heard something about you talking about someone's dead husband. Maybe you could explain that in the chat room. Not sure what that was about. And I'm going to teach you guys how to spot a liar. How to detect lying. It's a pretty big deal. You need to know when you're being told the truth. There are some easy ways to tell with the inexperienced liars, but the other ones are, and they talk here about how if you have creativity and intelligence, it's easier to lie. So if you know people that are pretty intelligent, you could be getting deceived a lot more than you think. And I'm going to teach you how to detect that. We're going to use a Time magazine article for that today as a guide. And what was it I wanted to share with you? Shit, I can't remember. It was... Provigil. Okay. Now, there was a report on ABC News that I'd like you to look at about this drug. And the thing about Provigil, and I don't remember the technical name for it, the chemical name, I'll have to look that up, was that, Air Force fighter pilots and stuff are using this. What it is it's like a neural enhancement pill. And it had been reserved for people that had narcolepsy or did shift work. And now random people are taking it, and it's pretty easy to get. It's not habit forming, and I'm going to share this ABC article right now with you. Okay, I wasn't attacking you, Debbie. I was just asking what happened there. So that's the Provigil. You guys may want to check it out. You may want to check with your doctor. I've tried it. And I can tell you that it does something. I've never been one to be fooled by a placebo effect of any type. When I took the Provigil, and I've done this several times, if you want to hear a show that I did after I had taken my first one, go back to the one called Saving Private Guys, Private Guys. Oh, there's ABC doing its thing. Yeah. Now, what they don't know about Provigil is the long-term effects. And they don't even really know how it works. So consider that there is a possibility that this could somehow get into your brain, and by sort of speeding up the neural network information travel time, maybe through some manipulation in calcium or potassium, it could burn you out. It could fry. I'm saying we don't know. So you could find out later that maybe your hippocampus shrinks or something, or you begin to lose processing power in your brain. We don't know yet. So because there are no long-term studies, you can't say it's entirely safe. However, they are saying there are very few side effects, and most people that take this pill find that they can focus more and that they have energy. And again, this is used for narcoleptics and shift workers typically, but now it's being used by people that just want to get more out of their day. And it's been described in so many ways. One guy described it as in The Wizard of Oz, when the black and white turns to color. That's how he describes it. I would not give it that kind of thing. I mean, it makes me a little bit edgy, and I don't mean that really in a negative way, but it almost gives me a little bit too much awareness. Like I need to focus on things, and I need to jump around as my mind would normally dictate. And I think this medication makes you kind of laser sharp on your topic of thought. So in a way, I didn't like that, but it also, I know it's doing something with the neural networks. I'm having like memories. I can more easily access my memories and stuff. Very strange stuff, but not trippy in any way. No feeling of euphoria, none of that. Just something different. It's definitely doing something different, something I haven't experienced before. And I was thinking about the first time I used it. We did that show, and bienvenue is French for welcome. And I knew that. Of course I knew that already, but I hadn't used that term in forever. And I'm sitting there making a joke, talking about Guy Shea, trying to get him kind of amped up for his own show. And I said, bienvenue. And I was thinking, where did I wouldn't have normally pulled that out from the top of my head, you know, because I haven't studied French in so many years. So it was just very strange that it was like I was accessing medium-term memories, not necessarily the long-term ones, with relative ease compared to normal. So there's something going on with the Provigil, which has several chemical names. I believe I already shared the ABC thing with you. You can look it up. I think the other name for it's like modafinil or something like that. You'll see. Let's see. All right, I can't really follow everything, you guys. No, Debbie, I just thought you looked defensive in your typing, but I judge people. I have to judge on typed words fairly often, so I do. It's funny because on Guy's show, the one we do together, the Evil Show, if you want to call it that, Louis sounds defensive, and I told him that, and he almost seemed a little offended. And I think we're all defensive to a degree. We have things we'll let you pick on us about and things we won't. And he just sounded defensive about everything. And I thought, is he feeling attacked? Because we fuck with everybody pretty equally here. But so I just thought maybe you were, I don't know, feeling like you were being honed in upon, and I was just trying to get clarification. I was listening to Mr. Solutions talking about some stuff the other night, and he got on my nerves again. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I remember when we were talking about order in the universe, and I politely asked him to describe what disorder would look like. He could not do that, but yet he's sure there's order. And then he mentioned things like surface tension and gravity. And I'm thinking, that's not really order. That's just how stuff works. We've learned to define that. So I wonder if he thought it was order when the asteroid hit Earth 65 million years ago. Is that part of the order?